All right, man. Torture Talk After Hours. You know what it is. So look, man. DJ Academics, man, you gotta chill, bro. You're doing way too much. And some of these things he's saying in this clip, man, is easily debunkable. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he does this, but we're gonna talk about that. So, excuse me. Let's get it, man. Let's go. All right, man. It's courtesy of Yo EQTV. Let's get it.
Hype is new and exciting, but enough dilly-dallying. Let's jump right into the video where we have DJ Academics giving his theory as to why Drake isn't giving American artists features anymore. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are going to be like, he could keep them. That so-called stimulus package hasn't been stimulating anything for quite some time now.
Some people felt was a diss or a sneak diss to Drake. The performance of both albums, We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You, along with that tour, was actually...
This guy's going to try to frame that. At the end of the day, this album wasn't meant to have this mainstream appeal. It's more of a passion project by Metro Boomin to a more nostalgic sound that he grew up on, that a lot of us grew up on. I don't think this was ever designed to actually do major numbers, because it's not like the We Don't Trust You series didn't do monster numbers.
A representation, especially by Atlanta artists, to say, Drake, back in the day, you had to bless the Migos for their first single to really blow.
Again, it's a narrative.
That's not true either. I think Bad and Bougie was bigger. I think, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I think the Migos' career got resurrected from when Daniel Glover or Childish Gambino got on stage and said something about them at the Music Awards. I think that's when their music career had blew back up.
I was talking about the Migos were white hot, and Drake isn't trying to do a feature for Young LA right now.
You helped 2 Chainz, really blew him up. You helped.
While that record was obviously a great look, that was definitely one hand washes the other.
I mean, just name.
What makes me mad about when people do this whole theory about Drake featuring on somebody's stuff, they make it seem like Drake is the only artist, when he does a feature with you, he blow you up. But anybody else that does a feature with somebody that's a bigger artist, it's just a feature. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, it's kind of like they cherry pick when it comes to Drake. They make it seem like whatever Drake does for somebody, yeah, he makes them a superstar. And that's not true. Like, so you're telling me that the only Drake did music with hundreds of artists. How come all of these artists ain't famous then, if that's the case? Why everybody ain't famous? He did songs with every artist that you never even heard of. How come the song he did a couple of songs. I don't have to even go that far. How come his own artists ain't famous like that? How come they ain't blow up all crazy? And he works with them all the time. It's just, it's weird to me that y'all would make this argument. And y'all do this all the time. Oh, well, he took people on tour with him. I got something to say about that too.
Shit, Future, going back to 2010, to really blow him up on a mainstream level, it was supposed to be a change of the guards, and I think that continued all the way to Kendrick to celebrate, yo, Drake, we don't need Drake no more.
That hasn't been the case for a very long time. Like I said in other videos, he hasn't had a #1 stay #1 for longer than a week, then 2018. And a lot of these features aren't sticking on the charts. They're fading as quickly as they are coming.
Like, we don't need him for shit. By the way, I think this is why.
That's a fact. And I think Academics he's blatantly ignoring that. That's a fact. Drake hasn't had #1s that stuck, or when he did get a #1, it didn't stay up there for long. And he hasn't had one since 2019. That's a fact. I don't know why he's not, like, people don't get me wrong. Drake is a big artist, right? Don't get me wrong. He's a big artist. But for you to say that he put everybody on, that every time he did something with them, it's kind of disingenuous. I just don't think that that's the case.
Drake hasn't given a feature to an Atlanta artist. Obviously, he's going to do it with Savage, but he's not trying to give nobody a feature. We'll talk about Baby in a second. Baby don't got no feature. And
Also, I mean, it makes sense. Drake can't use the buzz that Lil Baby has because right now he isn't as hot as he once was. And like I said, a lot of these things are transactional, and you're only on speed dial when you're useful, because if not, you're useless.
I think Drake is particularly, and I think What's the Dirt, salute to my man What's the Dirt, he brought
Two culture vultures.
this up. Drake don't seem to be wanting to collaborate with certain people. And I think,
Why can't it be the other case around? Maybe it's people that are denying the request, just like Kendrick Lamar did for first person
banking
shooter.
on
That's a fact. It's like everybody got a scene. To me, it just seems like everybody feels as though that all of these people, like when Drake say, I'm not doing y'all no more favors. Have you ever thought that maybe these people don't want to work with him no more? Have you ever thought that? I don't understand why y'all do that. Why y'all act as if like he's the end all be all. Everybody has to work with him on his terms. What about people say, I don't want to work with you like that anyway, bro? Like, no, I don't care for your feature. There's artists that actually don't care for his feature. I don't understand.
himself as they did bank on the fact that he's no longer needed. Now, I told you there's a lot of things that change why I think that became a thought. You got to go down with me, and I know some of y'all going to be like, well, you actually just Drake glazing. No, this is a little bit more thought out than just blindly glazing Drake. Just listen to what I'm saying.
Now, you're misconstruing the situation right now. Like I said, this album was never designed to do monster numbers.
In years past,
And honestly, it's a mixtape. So $18K for a mixtape is pretty good.
Drake is the first people to bring the Migos on a arena tour. Like, touring these days, the only thing, when it comes to hip-hop, touring has increased. Actually, when it comes to music, period. Touring has increased, music sales has decreased.
Yeah. Most artists today, the bulk of their money comes from touring and also merch.
Now, you might think,
Well, the reason why artists music has decreased because people have access to the music much more than they used to. See, before, when you got an album, you can literally go and buy the album. You have to go to the store to get it. There was no YouTube. There was no Facebook. None of that. You had to go and buy the album from the store. So you had no other outlets. Most artists nowadays, they put their album on YouTube, and it's free. People would just listen to I seen people saying they don't even have a streaming service. The boy Jid just put his album up, and it's all on YouTube. And it takes a little while for you to get paid from YouTube, but still in all, when you got people that saying stuff like what he's saying about, yeah, music has declined, that's because it's like going to a buffet. You want to eat everything until you get in the buffet. See, I think I might go to a buffet tonight. It might be closed by the time I'm done. You know what I'm saying? The way I'm describing it, it's kind of like going to a buffet and you see that you got all this abundance of food and you don't eat what you thought you was going to eat. That's how it is with music. People feel like, well, I don't need to listen to the album now. I ain't got to get it right now. I'll wait. And on top of that, people are so obsessed with first week sales. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want to say this, and I'm going to let this play. In fact, I'm going to let it play, and then I'm going to say
some people might be like, well, people have taken the money out of purchasing music, and now they just go to the live event. Some other people believe that music is something you just consume live rather than you buy and think you own or keep. However, if we go back to 2010, right? If we go back to 2013, Nicki Minaj had a hard time selling out a arena tour with Future. This is true. You guys could Google it. Minaj Future Tour. She actually canceled the North American Kendrick's tour with Future. Now, that's very interesting. Why do I say that? Of course, they gave some bullshit excuse. By the way, what year was this, if I could find it?
It's funny that the excuse for this is BS, but when Drake does it, it should be taken as fact.
They get some bullshit excuse. This was 2018. This is due to the late album release, lack of rehearsal time.
What are you supposed to tour if it's not your newest project? If you're touring records that are a few years old, it's not going to have the same impact as touring something that's heating up the charts.
Start the tour later than planned.
Hennessy seems to definitely be impairing his thoughts.
Example, Yo Gotti, Meek Mill canceled tour. That happened as well. Back in 2017, Meek Mill and Yo Gotti tried to go on tour. That was postponed. They said unspecified reason. I could tell you tickets weren't selling. The reality of things now is that
and this is another thing I hate that he does, right? If this says unspecified reasons, how are you telling people that I can tell you that the tickets wasn't selling? How can you? I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it didn't happen, because academics do have some pull or whatever. But for you to say that and not provide any evidence of it, this is what I'm talking about. When people come to you and they say, you say, well, I can tell you that the tickets wasn't selling. But it says on here, it was canceled for no specified reason. But you still telling people that the tickets wasn't selling. It could have been the tickets wouldn't, it could have been both. It could, the tickets wasn't selling and something happened and they couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
most of these artists, like, and I want y'all to hear that. So Meek just dropped an album that sold 250,000, which was Championships, in 2018. Yo Gotti was super hot because he had really popped off again. Them together couldn't sell out an arena tour. These days,
it's funny because isn't Drake having some problems selling tickets, allegedly? But the thing is, a lot of artists sometimes jump the gun too early and they end up making this mistake. I mean, sometimes as an artist, you have to put your ego aside and just take logical steps to get to the point where you can do arenas and hopefully one day stadiums. These people get numbers and they automatically go to arenas instead of hitting up theaters, which are still big venues, but the sound of an arena tour just obviously sounds sexier.
Meg Thee Stallion goes on an arena tour. Yo, Chris Brown is in a
Meg Thee Stallion also had Glorilla and I want to say Lotto, so it's not the same.
stadium tour. Chris Brown's literally about to come to North New Jersey, like in a couple days.
Chris Brown is on another level.
Weeknd is doing stadium. Kendrick's doing stadium. Drake is doing like 1 million arenas.
Is that actually?
I love it, bro. He has to put the 1 million arenas behind what he's saying, because he can't say the stadiums because Drake hasn't done it. And on top of that, he knows that if he says 1 million arenas, it kind of looks like he's just as big as Kendrick when he does the stadiums. He loves to try to throw word semantics.
Comparing those artists to Meek Mill and Yo Gotti, right there, your argument loses all validity.
Rod
And like I always say, another erroneous take from DJ Academics.
Wave is doing an arena. Youngboy's doing an arena. Moneybagg Yo did an arena, even though it was a low bowl tour. The point what I'm trying to tell y'all is that live shows have increast. Now,
Definitely.
Why do I bring that up in comparison to this Drake?
People are seeming to tour literally all year round now.
Yeah. In 2015, and we could go back to, it was Aubrey and the Migos tour. This was the first tour that they were co-headlining. This is the first co-headlining tour by the Migos that was a arena tour. Okay? Now, I believe...
Obviously, just look at what was out at that time. It's literally right after Bad and Bougie became a hit, a generational hit.
Well, I want to say this real quick. I'm gonna tell y'all something, bro. Drake wasn't in charge of these shows. I'm just gonna be straight with y'all. He wasn't in charge of these shows. Whoever was in charge of these shows is the ones who was putting people on these tours. It wasn't him. Drake didn't select to put people on tour. When people say, oh, at the time Drake brought nobody would take Kendrick and J. Cole and it was A$AP Rocky and all these other people, nobody would take them on tour. Well, Kendrick was already on tour with Tech Nine before that, but he said nobody would take them on tour. Listen, bro, Drake didn't run these tours. He wasn't the one selecting people at the time. Whoever was the tour manager or Live Nation or whoever was they were the one running the tours. Whether it was Baby, whether it was what's his name, whether it was Baby, whether it was Lil Wayne, whoever was running these tours, Jay Prince, whoever was running, it was just like when Jay Prince made Drake do a show with Kanye West. So he wasn't running none of this stuff. So when people say stuff like, "Oh, well, he brought people on tour with him," no, he was told to bring these people. He didn't run nothing. He didn't run nothing.
But let's not try to frame this as Drake doing them a favor. It's both of them doing each other favors. And honestly, Drake seems to have more to gain from this situation.
Because of touring, which is the primary source of income for the majority of these artists, not album sales, not residuals, nothing else but touring. This is one of the reasons why Drake stays on tour. Most of these artists are staying on tour. And by the way, I remember when he did the back-to-back thing back in 2015.
Is he going to try to frame that the It's All a Blur tour is also him giving the stimulus package to those artists? The only reason that tour is the highest rap grossing tour ever is because he brought on like 7 other premier rappers.
Future was on tour. Point is this. All of these artists have these mega tours without Drake. You might not have the mega songs without Drake. You might not get the #1. But you're getting deals to go on arena tours. It's almost like if you're doing the same venue as Drake, it becomes a thing where you say, we don't need this nigga no more. And I do believe that that's where
It's honestly been the case for a while. And if he had gone and fostered those relationships and probably been more of a stand-up guy and not the snake that allegedly people call him, obviously that wouldn't be the case. Like I said in the intro, if you're not useful, you're useless and you will be discarded in the industry. It's a sad but very, very true reality. But what Drake is going through is something that honestly is due to his own doing. Because I'm pretty sure if people really thought that they put him on, that they owed him something, his situation wouldn't be where it's at now, where he's getting bottles thrown at him and getting clowned on a daily, which was always happening before, but it's on a whole nother level now.
a lot of the people, when Kendrick kicked off that battle, their either reluctance to speak up for Drake or them watching and waiting to see, they wanted to see if it was a changing of the tides.
Well, that may be the case.
Why would, bro? This is how you know Drake and not all of them, but a good portion of his supporters are soft as shit, bro. They're soft. He's literally said he was waiting for people to speak up for him. It was a battle between 2 people. Why would somebody have to speak up for Drake? He went back and forth. No one still hasn't spoke up for him. Not even Lil Wayne, not even Nicki Minaj. Nobody has said anything about Kendrick or saying that Kendrick is wrong for what he did. Nobody. Only person did is Drake. He's the only one saying, no, you defame me, you defame me. And I know that burns Nicki, and I know that burns, what's the name, to the core, that their guy is doing something like this. It's crazy.
For some, that really shows how fair weather their relationship was. I honestly thought it was the time for a lot of people to show their true feelings.
From 2011, remember Drake brought Rocky on his first tour, Kendrick first tour, Meek first tour. He brought all these guys out.
These are all people that were extremely hot.
Years later, these guys, like Future, is going on an arena tour with Metro. They don't really need Drake anymore. And I think that helped the sentiment of these.
Like, this is what I mean by academics. And I'm going to end it here. Bro, you basically saying this was damn near 15 years ago. These dudes have been successful without Drake. They've been successful without Drake. This was years ago. You're trying to say because of those, like, it's like, oh, he took Kendrick, he took A$AP Rocky and all them on tour. These dudes grew as artists. They've been successful. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Guys to say, yeah, we don't need the king anymore. And that emboldened the energy, of course, Kendrick then battling
This guy's moving of the goalposts is honestly Hall of Fame worthy.
him. Everybody's sitting back and watching. And I think Drake is super resentful. That's why I think Drake ain't giving none of these niggas a
Everyone is super resentful.
feature. Drake rather goes to the UK. He might go to Australia next. I think he gonna do some shit in dance. He gonna give them a feature. I don't think Drake want to give most of these American artists no features no more because
I don't think they actually care because look at the records he has now.
That's the thing. Like, I think people are over him, bro. And I think for you to sit here and say, it's kind of like, it's crazy how far you would go to make it seem like people need him. Nobody needs Drake, bro. This is why nobody's messing with him. Nobody needs Drake, bro. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, it's something else going on that most people not probably talking about. It's something else going on. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I think that a lot of these artists don't want to mess with Drake because they know either something's coming down the pipeline and they don't want to be close to him, or they don't want to deal with the dude no more because they probably look at him like he's a clown. Be like, oh, nobody cares that dude no more. I think Drake knows this, and I think he's trying to play hard. He's trying to play Mr. Tough Guy, and it's just not working no more. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna leave it there, man. If y'all want to watch the rest, make sure y'all go on Yo EQ TV. Shout out to him, man. I respect this guy so much, man. He donated to my. He was the first person to ever donate to my channel. First person to ever donate to my channel. So I respect him, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. But anyway, I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out of here. Torture Talk. You already know Torture Talk after hours. See y'all. Peace. Bye.